video, though. But anyways, I digress. Let's get back to work. We are going to output the supercomputers as well. Actually, no, these just need computers. We don't need the supercomputers yet, do we? We sure don't. So, what we're gonna do is circuit board, automated wiring, and heavy frames. I will fix this for the time being. So, how do we want to plumb the heavy frames over here? I think... Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. Because we have a couple options. One, I can change the direction of that so it actually outputs at a different stage rather than this merger right here. Let's check underneath. What are we working with here? Let's try outputting somewhere around here if we can. What I could do is just put a splitter in between it. I don't like doing that, but it is what it is. So we are going to be not working quite in the vertical center of this. Oh, I already lost my place. I'm so bad for that. I know where I need to line up and then I immediately forget. So if we're going here, not quite in the vertical center. Oh, it's either here or here. Again, I already forget. I think it's here. I really hope it is. So what we're going to need to do is we are going to need to put a splitter. No, let's do a merger actually instead. We're going to have to move this a half step out. We'll delete this one. We will then go to a hotbar. Oh, for anybody also... I'm just all over the place today. I'm a scatterbrain. I am completely aware of this. But if anybody wants to work with... If they're looking at my hotbar going, how the heck is he doing that? You see how I'm moving different items? What you do is you hold the Alt key and then use your scroll wheel. Again, the developers are amazing for realizing, like, you know, just doing things in a hurry. And if you hold the Alt key and scroll, it will move to a separate hotbar. So when you pick something that you want to do, in this case, we're going to start with power. You hover over it and you press the key you want to bind it to, in this case, 1. So, if I wanted to build a, you know, kind of thing that I'm going to be using all the time, especially late game where I'm not using anything kind of outside of belt, like the higher level belts, conveyor lifts, holes, stuff like that, I'm just going to click, or, you know, find what I want, and then click the key that corresponds with it, and then it is bound. This is absolutely wonderful, honestly. And another thing that I will point out, again, scatterbrain me, is when you're working with belts, you can actually press the E key to go to the next step up. So you see this is a Mark 1, you can go to Mark 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then it resets. You can do this with conveyor lifts, you can do it with assemblers to manufacturers to constructors. Let's give a round of applause to the developers, because, like, oh my god, anything that you could want to do, like pressing control to highlight multiple things that you want to delete at the same time, instead of having to do it every single goddamn time, they've thought of. They want to make your life efficient, and that is wonderful for a game like this. That's exactly what you need to be doing. Like, so anybody who doesn't know these hotkeys, you're welcome. Like, go have some fun. And I'm actually really glad that I just built that hotbar. I'm somebody who will do the same task over and over and over again, going, man, I should really fix that, and I'll never do it. So thankfully, just by the process of explaining it, I actually just made a 10-second fix that will save me probably, like, somehow hours of frustration over time. Again, do as I say, not as I do. 1, 2. This conveyor belt is going to be too long anyways. How far can it go? And that's the one thing I don't like. When you're working above, which is why I don't like working underneath as much as I once did, you can easily set the height of the conveyor pole before you actually place it down. I know it would probably maybe not be the easiest things for the developers, but like, you can't do that here. Scrolling does nothing. When you click it, it just instantly builds it. Where you actually have to build a stacked conveyor pole on the roof, then you can click it down. It's fine, but it is sort of frustrating. Like, it just adds a little bit more work every time you need to make a longer conveyor belt. I know you could just drop another layer of foundation underneath and kind of make half levels of wiring. That's something I actually kind of did over there for my machines. But it's just something that's a little time consuming. Again, not the end of the world, but for a game that has basically anything you could ever want, it's just frustrating when you run into limitations. Another one is when you're trying to do precise work with the hover thing here. It can be super touchy when you're trying to do like precise work. Even when you press the shift key to go slower, you can just start to move around a little bit too much, and that's annoying. And it doesn't go fast enough. And maybe make it like up to 1.5 times faster, because I'm impatient. You know, I like running around and just building shit as fast as I can. I don't like to wait around for stupid bullshit. I like to be anxious constantly and move on to my next task without actually focusing on what I'm doing in the present. Alright, what do we need here? We got distracted with the horrible trials and tribulations of my life. We need power. That is one thing we need. What is the nearest power pole I can use that will make everything look nice and clean? We will wire together these on the back as my game kind of jitters a bit. Okay, that's a nice place for that power pole. Oh, would you look at that? It's actually like perfectly in line almost. I say almost. Alright, what else do we need here? We need circuit boards and the automated wiring. We'll do the automated wiring first. All of this will output to these two right here. I don't love this, but I don't love a lot of things in life, unfortunately. So we will go like so. We will do a Mark V belt connecting the two. We will probably... You will go there, and you will go there. Isn't that nice looking? Look at that automated wiring just funnel in there all nice like. This is the limitation of the manifold design I was talking about, where these machines will take forever to fill, though. Okay, so what we need to do is the circuit boards. Well, how are we gonna get all those, you wonder? Well, it's a good thing I have been manufacturing literally a zillion of those. I just forget where I put them. I think... No, they're not at this Fort Kick-Ass. They're not at this Fort Kick-Ass. They're not at this Fort Kick-Ass. Yeah, they're actually at this one way over here. Isn't that nice? Where you can see we have a kabillion circuit boards already being made. Again, why the hell would you make a video where you've already done 90% of the work? Well, good question. I'm still figuring that out myself. Do I want to do this? Probably not. Creatures in the way? Motherfucker. God, late game can be funny sometimes. Let's do something stupid, which is no different from what I'm always doing. No, I do not want the floor conveyor mount, or the roof conveyor mount. That would just be right silly, wouldn't it? Okay, look at that. Circuit boards are flowing in. Isn't that just fine and dandy? Our manufacturers are running, but not very happily, because we are extraordinarily undersaturated on these heavy modular frames. And that's the problem I was alluding to before. We have these 6 machines building 2 modular frames, or heavy modular frames each, resulting in 12 modular frames. And if we consult the spreadsheet for what we actually need, you can see very clearly that we need quite a bit more. You know a game is fun when you start have to making spreadsheets about it. That's how you know you are at peak, pinnacle gameplay, honestly. So, we need a total of 48 modular frames, meaning that we need 36 more. We need 3 more lines of these very expensive machines. So that's 2 challenges. One is building these machines over here, which is why I left this space open. And the next challenge is getting all the resources that these require, all of which is pretty damn expensive. You're wondering, well, concrete, that doesn't seem so bad. It's only 50. Yeah, but you get diddly shit from it. From each of these, it produces almost nothing. Which is why the last time I played, even though I was not what I felt was making progress towards anything, I built this nice little train line that has a super quick and fast delivery between these 2 points. What it does is it transports a lot of water. With this water, you can use alternate recipes for smelting. Instead of the smelters into ingots, you can usually use something like water to increase the output substantially. Instead of a 1-to-1, this is 6-to-15. It over doubles the output of copper ingots we get using just a little bit of water. So we're going to have to do that with a lot of the resources over here, and maybe even transport more over by train later. We will start building 3 more lines of these heavy modular frame inputs. Not super excited about that. Now, first order of business is I am going to build one of these machines, and then a blueprint designer right beside it. Why, you ask? Well, to build this bus system, like I was over there, I'm going to build a little template. I didn't have enough room in the designer to add them in, so we're just going to do them after the fact. We have 3 inputs here. We are going to take this and line it up with all of our inputs, but work in the 3rd dimension. So we have this, and this input all lined up. But yeah, so you'd wonder, like, why the hell would you build this? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it will save us a bit of time, and trust me, it all adds up. Just gonna give it an arbitrary name, save it, clear it. Where do we need to line this up then? Technically, if we put the mergers up in the air, we won't need that additional space. I think that's what I'll do. So, if that's the case, I could actually put it probably all the way so that it was, like, touching this. Okay. Why do we leave all this space, you might ask? That's a stupid question. Don't ask it again. Well, because with our current kind of like, I call it a bus, people are probably going to get really upset with me for calling it that because it's probably not actually what it is. But we essentially just want to make it so that it's easier to connect these inputs really quickly. So we take something like that, stuff up. This is very inefficient for the space between it, but it's just a system that I like to use, honestly. I've used it a lot. It seems to work fairly well. And yeah, we're gonna stick to it. Let's see. How bad does that look? No, I'd say that looks okay. I don't like that it's not fully tight there, but at least this belt isn't like fully clipped in. So that's what we're going to do here. The sun is going down again. I could get a mod where it's always daylight, but like, I'm just gonna make you guys suffer, because with YouTube compression, it's probably just gonna make it like 10 times worse. There we go, until it flips, 1 off. Okay, so that is the first run, at least, of the machines. We can now build the bus system. I love it when it decides that it's going to change where you're actually pointing at the very last second and makes a fool out of you and dishonors your family. God damn, I love that. But see how making that blueprint is just saving us so much time, as I'm probably placing them incorrectly and I'm not actually doing anything meaningful for myself, having to undo it all later. I always tend to, like, miss one thing as I'm working along here. You know, I go along and go, wow, that's great, and then realize that I missed, like, one of the most important things. Should I do the smart thing, or should I do the gratifying thing? The bane of my existence, I tell you. Oh, I just realized this is going to take some time to set up. The other bane of my existence. I like to do things, have it until it eventually pisses me off, and then like 2 years later finally apply the 2-minute fix and then be like, why the hell didn't I do this years ago? You know, as God intended. First off, let's just hook up the output here. So we're gonna go like so. Like you to you, you to you. And we're gonna go like so. Need to get a perspective where I can actually see what my alignment is, which is great because this is a rather difficult perspective, but it should be in line with this, with these slingers right here, because we're usually building at the same height, which is super nice. There. So this merger plumbs in there, and then it gets merged again down the line, where it can therefore get sent over to those machines. I really don't love that I have these machines here, and then I have to build the same machines in a different location, but this is just what happens when you're a big, dumb, stupid idiot brain like me, and you do things without thinking, you know? Play stupid games and stupid prizes, really. I guess this is probably a good stopping point for episode 1. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this episode of me just completely moaning and complaining about completely fictional problems that don't exist in the real world, but that I choose to completely burden myself with anyways. Next episode, I hope to either build the remaining manufacturers here for the heavy modular frames, my big blueprints for them, or get the resources to fuel this one, or maybe both. We shall see, we shall see. Tune in next time to see if I choose instant gratification or actual proper long-term planning. We'll see you next time.